back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys, so this is part 3 in a massive book haul. If you haven't seen part 1 and 2, I will link them below so you can go check those out first. But this is a book haul talking about all the books I've received over the last few months, including those that I picked up either for my birthday or for Worldcon whilst I was there. So go watch all these massive book hauls because there might be something on this list that you guys are intrigued about too. Let's get started. The first book in this part is one I'm very happy to have, and this is The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker. It's the first in a new series by R.J., and I loved his previous series. I thought it was excellent, so I'm definitely happy to see that he has continued to write and is now doing something that looks a little bit like dragon-y on the front. Very excited about that. It says, 2 nations at war, a prize beyond compare. For generations, the 100 Isles have built their ships from the bones of ancient dragons to fight an endless war. The dragons disappeared, but the battles for supremacy persisted. Now the first dragon in centuries has been spotted in far-off waters, and both sides see a chance to shift the balance of power in their favour, because whoever catches it will win not only glory, but also the war. Love all the authors who've endorsed RJ, like Robin Hobb says brilliant, Nicholas Eames says a singular, sensational, new voice in epic fantasy, which is a tongue twister and hard to say. John Gwynne says it's amazing, loads of people. So definitely happy to have a copy, and I will read it very soon, hopefully, because I love dragons, I love the concept. It reminds me a little bit of the Live Ship Traders series by Robin Hobb, so that's one of my faves. So it's kind of got a high bar to live up to, but hopefully it's different enough that whatever happens, it's great. Moving on to a very different kind of book. This is not my usual cup of tea, but it is something that occasionally I'm interested in, and that is The Catholic School by Edoardo Albinati. This is set in Italy, and I believe it's set in 1975. There was a crime committed, which I believe was done by 3 men who were, for some reason, all connected together by the Catholic school that they went to, and I think the author of the book also either went there or had a close connection to this school. So the author has written in detail about the events of this crime and what happened. I believe it made quite a lot of headlines when it was ongoing in Italy, and I'm not sure exactly what the situation with it all is. It's a huge book, like a proper doorstopper of a book, like ridiculously fat and very heavy. So when I'm going to get to it is very debatable, but it's a literary, kind of inspired by true events. I do like stories that are inspired by true things, and this one definitely is. It sounds like the author's done a lot of research, so I'm intrigued. Intrigued enough to try it, but it's a mammoth, so I think it's going to have to be a read at home when I have got loads of space and I'm in my bed, rather than take out and about with me, because it's huge. Like, probably as big as Dance with Dragons. Yeah, pretty much, and it's not fantasy, so I don't know how long this will take me to read, but quite a while is my guess. Next up, I have The Dragon's Legacy by Deborah A. Wolfe. I have a feeling that I bought this book. I went out and just bought a load of books one day for some reason. Maybe I had a voucher. Can't remember. These might have been birthday books that I bought with a voucher, actually, because I don't usually get vouchers, so probably was birthday money. It's by Deborah A. Wolfe, and it's called The Dragon's Legacy, and this is book 1. Far below the desert, the earth dragon slumbers fitfully. From the darkness of her dreams come whispers of war and death. Silima is a newly minted warrior and a true Jakari, a daughter of the unforgiving desert, but her people are fading from the world. The warriors and wardens are hard-pressed to protect those who remain, and the Vashai, great cats who have called the people Kithrin for as long as there have been stories, bond with fewer humans each year. A mysterious man appears in her home, and she learns that the Dragon King is dying in distant Ataloon. As he fades, so does the magic that sings the Earth Dragon to sleep, and she soon finds there are some who would have the dragon wake so they might laugh as the world burns. I love dragons. Books about dragons are great. I love them. This has a pretty epic dragon on the front, so let's be honest, that's probably why I bought it. And it's written by a lady, which is always good. Another book which I picked up with birthday money is Turning Darkness into Light by Mary Brennan. This one is the new book by her, which is based in the same world as the Lady Trent series. I believe this follows the granddaughter of Lady Trent, and it sounds fabulous because this world is one of my favourites for fantasy. I just think it's great. It's like natural history combined with fantasy and lady power, and it's just fabulous. So I'm really excited to see that there is another one in the series. I don't really want to go into too many details because I do think you should read the first series, which is these books up here. A Natural History of Dragons is the first one. I think you should read them and then you should come on to this one because it's one of my favourite series, so highly recommend it. Another one that I picked up in, I think, Waterstones for my birthday was Cell 7 by Kerry Drury. This one says, should she live or die? You decide. An adored celebrity has been killed. 16-year-old Martha Honeydew was found holding a gun and standing over the body. Now justice must prevail. The general public will decide whether she is innocent or guilty by viewing daily episodes of the hugely popular show Death is Justice, the only TV show that the power of life and death decisions, all for the price of a premium rate phone call. She's admitted to the crime, but is she guilty? Or is reality more complicated than the images we're shown on the TV? Now, I love the concept. I mean, I don't want this to really happen, but I love the concept of a reality TV taking over to the extreme level that you can literally be the judge of someone in a murder trial. I think that sounds great. So if it's done well, which I hope it is, then I'm really, really into it because I am the sort of person who loves to watch absolute trash TV. For some reason, it gives me great thrill to sit down and watch utter rubbish because I think I don't have to concentrate, so it's like easy to watch. But I do like reality TV that's good as well, like Bake Off is great. So, I don't know, I went on a tangent there. Anyway, I like this sort of stuff on TV. I think this is a really interesting concept. I'm pleased to see a book about it and I hope it's good. Another one I picked up with that same voucher was This Star's Now Unclaimed, which is by Drew Williams. Never heard of this, but it's by, it's got a couple of endorsements by some of my favourite authors. So Claire North said she loved it, and Becky Chambers says the only thing more fun than a bonkers space battle is a whole book packed with bonkers space battles. So that sounds good. A century ago, a mysterious pulse of energy spread across the universe meant to usher in a new era of peace and prosperity, and instead it destroyed technology indiscriminately, leaving some worlds untouched and throwing others into total chaos. The Justified, a mysterious group of super soldiers, have spent 100 years trying to find a way to restore order to the universe. Their greatest asset is the feared mercenary Kamali, who travels from planet to planet searching for gifted young people and bringing them to the secret world she calls home. Kamali hopes that those she rescues will be able to find a way to reverse the damage the pulse wrecked and ensure it never returns, but she's not the only person looking for answers to unimaginable questions. Sounds good. Love the kind of vibe of the front cover. It's very retro in style, and I like that. I'm digging it. Next up, I have to admit, this one to me looks like one of those, what are they called, Warhammer books, like... Is it the Horus Heresies? Something like that. The books that you see on the shelf with the black cover and then they're cut out. They look like the Warhammer books. I think they're Warhammer. The cover looks like that, but it's not a Warhammer book. It is just a fantasy book, I think. And it's got this lovely lady on the front, dressed to the nines. It's called Shadowblade by Anna Kashina, and it's published by Titan. It says, Naya dreams of becoming a blade master, but after assaulting a teacher, her future seems ruined. The timely intervention of a powerful stranger elevates her into an elite training of the upper grounds. She's no idea the stranger is Dal Ghassan, head of the Dalgir Circle. 17 years ago, he witnessed a massacre of Kalimar's court and rescued its sole survivor, a baby girl. And Ghassan plans to thrust a blade into the machinations of imperial succession. Naya. Disguised as the legendary Princess Zarimet of Chalamir, Naya must challenge the imperial family and win. Losing means certain death, but in victory she would forsake everything she holds dear, even the man she loves. The cinematic martial arts combined with political games and forbidden romance makes this a perfect crossover novel for all readers. It's a high claim, and I don't usually read books with particularly much romance or cinematic martial arts or politics, but it sounded good enough to kind of intrigue me, let's say. And as I say, I'm always looking for female fantasy writers who are up and coming, and this sounds potential. Next up, I believe this is another self-published one. It's by Ross Hughes. It's called A Dead Wizard's Dream, and this one is signed to me, so that's really cool. It says, an afterlife under threat, a reborn prophet in peril, a ragtag band of faithful knights and grumpy nomads, mad wizards and corrupt corsairs on a death-defying quest to rescue him. Will swords and sorcery prove enough? The dwarvic city buried in a desert, the site of an ancient tyranny. Mutants and demons abound. The dead walk again, and the god of the nether waits patiently for all souls to be his. The year is 311 AC. Welcome to Maradoom. So, sounds pretty epic, and I do like this crazy warrior on the horse. And all the glowing red eyes are a little bit creepy. Do you see these? They've all got like glowing red eyes. Not sure what to think about that. Couple more books I was sent by publishers. The first of those is Mistletoe by Alison Littlewood. This seems a little bit like it's going to be horror-y. It says, there are tragic deaths of Leah's husband. She's looking for a new life, determined to bury her grief in hard work. She rushes through the purchase of a rundown farmhouse, arriving just as snow shrouds her new home. Might look like the loveliest Christmas card, but it's soon clear that the house needs more than renovation. The land is in bad heart too. Leah sets to work. She begins to see visions of the farm's former occupants and the dark secrets that lie at the heart of Maitland Farm. Oh dear, it does sound a bit creepy. The cover looks creepy. I mean, it's a Christmas story, but it sounds creepy. It's a creepy Christmas story, so I'm gonna need to read this before Christmas comes, so I'm not creeped out at Christmas. But thank you for sending it to me. I am intrigued, if a little bit terrified. I don't do well with horror because I have a very good imagination that freaks me out with horror books, but I do like reading them when it's bright and light and nice, so I'll just have to like put on every light in the house when I sit down to read this. Next up, I got sent the new Annalee Newitt's book, which is The Future of Another Timeline. I don't think this is part of that same series at all. I think it's a new standalone. It says, in a world that's just a step away from our own, time travel is possible, but war is brewing. A secret group is trying to destroy women's rights. If they succeed, only a small elite will have the power to shape the past, present and future. And it sounds as though quite a lot of different authors have endorsed this. Ken Liu in particular is one of the ones that I really like, and he says, a glorious tale of hope in the face of an outrage, an anthem of tireless resistance against the powers that would lead us to our worst futures. So that sounds pretty intriguing. Next up, I have a book called Cold Storage. This is an ARC copy because it comes out in September, so it's probably just come out. It's by David Coep, and it says, don't come too close. When Pentagon bioterror operative was sent to investigate a suspected biochemical attack, he found something worse, a highly mutative organism capable of extinction-level destruction. He managed to contain it, burying it in a cold storage facility deep beneath a little-used military repository. Now, after decades of festering, the specimen has found its way out. It sounds a little bit creepy as well. Definitely seems like in time for Halloween, they're sending out all these creepy books, and I hate the creepy side of Halloween. I love the dressing up and the party and the sweets. The creepy bit, no, I'm not good with creepy stuff. I'm a wuss. Another one that looks a little bit creepy is You Are Invited to Enter the Ninth House. I think this is just called Ninth House, and it's by Leigh Bardugo, comes out 1st of October. Power, Privilege, Murder. Enter the dark and decadent world of the Ninth House, the long-awaited adult novel from #1 best-selling author Leigh Bardugo. For nearly 200 years, 8 secret societies of Yale University have operated from the shadows, serving the interests of the elite and shaping the course of history. The Ninth House is tasked with policing them, until the murder of a young woman throws this carefully hidden world of privilege, power and occult into chaos. Now this one sounds a little less horror and a little more just like creepy, shady, dark, so I think I can do this. It definitely sounds intriguing, and I do think Leigh Bardugo she's one of those authors who I've liked some of her stuff and not liked other stuff as much. Hopefully I'll really like her adult novel. I think the reason I haven't liked some of her others was because they didn't feel quite as fleshed out as some of her adult novels would. So hopefully that means I'll really like this. Next up, I have a new book, which is Rage of Dragons. This is by Evan Winter, and honestly, sounds like my kind of thing. It's about dragons, which is always good, and it's got lots of authors endorsing it. It says, where they fight, the world burns. The Yamehe people have been fighting an unwinnable war for generations. Lucky ones are born gifted, some had the power to cool down dragons, and others can be magically transformed into bigger, stronger, faster killing machines. Everyone else is fodder, destined to fight and die in the endless war. But someone wants more than this, and his plans of escape are destroyed when the closest to him are brutally murdered. With too few gifted left, the Omahai are facing genocide, but Tao cares only for revenge. Following an unthinkable path, he will strive to become the greatest swordsman ever to live, a man willing to die 100,000 times for the chance to kill 3 of his own people. That sounds pretty dramatic, and I like the concept. Definitely going to pick this one up and read it soon. Another few books I'm very happy to have are a sequel to the first one in this series, which is by Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. This is the sequel to Empire of Silence, which I really enjoyed when I read it, so I'm very happy to have the sequel. I will try and remember to link my review of the first one down below so you guys can check it out, but I really enjoyed it and I'm definitely keen to get back to the series because I remember really wanting the second one when I got to the end of the first, which is always a good sign. So hopefully I'll love this just as much. Another one I'm very excited to have is this one. It's called Sanctuary and it's by V.V. James. Heard good things about this, but I also saw the author do a talk about it, and I believe it revolves around a small town where mysterious things are going on. There's also a lot of influence from Wicca and witchcraft, which sounds very fascinating. So I'm down. I'm definitely looking forward to reading this. Won't say much more about it than that, but I've heard it's going to be good. And the final book that I have is this one. I believe this one is a self-published one as well. It's The Blighted City by Scott Kalin, and definitely sounds like a fun one. So, the one true ruler of eternity is death itself. To challenge the gods is to invite their wrath. So it is written of Lakia, the Blighted City, in the Codex of the Ages. But who reads codices, and who really believes the tall stories of the tale weavers? Dagra does. If it's a story about the gods, even a dead god, he believes every word. When his sellsword team is offered a contract to cross the Deadlands and find a burial jewel in the crypts of the Blighted City, Dagra wants no part of it. His companions are undaunted by the legend. To them, the blurred divide between the living and the dead is superstitious nonsense. Completing the contract would earn the guild's failing reputation a much-needed boost, and secure them the bounty of a lifetime. They're going with or without him. Torn between convictions of his beliefs and the importance of his friendships, Dagra reluctantly journeys into the godless region in search of the fabled city, but the Deadlands are only the first challenge. Sounds pretty interesting to me. So that's the last one I actually have at the moment in book form, and lots to be reading, as I think you guys will agree. But not only that, I did get a couple of bookish things. One of my friends got me 3 Audible credits as a kind of birthday present. So if anyone has any really good recommendations for Audible, fantasy, sci-fi, non-fiction, any of that kind of stuff, do let me know, because I am currently on the hunt for a couple of Audible titles to add to my library. I do tend to get to Audible titles a lot quicker than I get to physical books because I can listen to them when I'm out and about. So any recommendations, send them my way. I also got a Waterstones card from one of my friends as a token, so I'm very excited to kind of go out and spend this. So again, if anyone has any really good recommendations of new releases that they think I should read, please let me know and I will go and happily spend this money. And then finally, one of my friends got me this, which is a really cute little bookmark. As you can see, I think it's a, well, she thought it was a cat, but I think it's a fox. And it's really cute. As you can see, it just kind of tucks over the corner of your page. So I'll definitely be using that on some of my books as well. And that, I think, is everything. So thank you all so much for watching. Leave all of your recommendations down below, and I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.